Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Match day 2 of Champions League. Champions League is back for the Bianconeri. Leipzig, Juve at 9 p.m. Italian time. I can't wait. And we know it, when it's Champions League, we need to be at our best. Look at that. I think, at the peak of Beppe. Freshly shaved. Beautiful third shirt. Ragazzi, maybe we'll even play with the third shirt this evening. I can't wait to see it also in Champions League nights. But a bit more seriously, who needs to be really at their best? It is Thiago Motta and the team. Why? Because we are playing against the third strength of Bundesliga. Really solid team in front, but also in the back. Pay attention, it will not be an easy game in their home. They really want to beat Juve. They have everything that they get to do it. Now, we need to know how to beat them and how to also defend ourselves. That's why this video is a bit more tactical. The last few days I watched a few games of Leipzig, I studied them, then I watched a few videos of tactical experts that went into detail. What are their weaknesses, what are their strengths, how are they moving. So if you love tactics, if you love these kinds of tactical paths, this is the video for you. If we have a bit more time, we go towards, at the end of the video, towards the games of yesterday, who surprised me, who didn't surprise me in Champions League. Ragazzi, put a maximum of like, continue to subscribe, make this video, this channel bigger and bigger and bigger, and comment. If you want, you can already start with your prediction. Now that we did the basics, let's start with the squad list of Thiago Motta. No surprises, Adzic, Weah and Milik are absent. All the other ones traveled with the team, so Thiago will have a lot of choices. Goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders or forward players, they are all available, which is really good, which of course makes our job much more difficult because it's really difficult to find who will play, who will start, what is the lineup that he didn't reveal yet. One thing is sure, Chiellini will not be in the starting lineup, he will not be on the bench, but he will be there in the stand because yesterday he decided to travel with the team. We see here a picture of him next to Thiago Motta. What were they talking about? That's the big question. No, I don't think that Chiellini was telling or sharing some defensive experience with Thiago, because Thiago is doing quite well if we are speaking about the defensive line. Probably they were speaking about their time as teammates in La Nazionale Italiana. But anyway, seeing Giorgio Chiellini with Thiago Motta, but with all the players, was really, really nice. Is really, really nice. More of that, please. Now, the lineups. I told you Thiago Motta said, I already know who will play. The team already know who will play, but I will not reveal it. This time, no gifts, no anticipation, so try to guess it by yourself. And you see that the journeys are really in difficulty, because when you are opening Tuttosport, Gazzetta dello Sport, Sky Sport, whatever media, they are all going with their own lineup. From the really traditional, or probably the most strongest one in the eyes of the tifosi, Tuttosport, that is going with Di Gregorio in the goal, 4-1-4-1 with Kalulu, Gatti, Bremer, Cambiaso, Locatelli, the pivot there, Nico Gonzalez, Thuram, Koopmeiners, Yildiz and Vlahovic, with Thuram that could possibly start there. That's one lineup, a strong lineup made by Tuttosport. On the other side, big surprises in Gazzetta, that is going with indeed Di Gregorio into the goal. No surprises there. But then Savona with Kalulu as a center-back, Gatti on the bench, Bremer, Cambiaso. Fagioli, McKennie, big surprise if it's the one of Gazzetta, because Locatelli would not be there. Nico Gonzalez on top, Koopmeiners, Yildiz and Vlahovic. If we are looking at Corriere dello Sport, I don't have the picture, but they are asking themselves a question. Pay attention, who could possibly start? Nico Gonzalez or Conceição, that did fantastically well when he entered, and also yesterday in press conference, beautiful words from Thiago. By the way, immense Thiago Motta yesterday. Immense Thiago Motta yesterday in press conference, where he spoke about a lot of things. If you want to know the translation first and then also the debrief, the video is already there, uploaded. Go and watch it so that you are fully prepared for the game of today. I already think that I know who will start between both of them, and I will reveal you later in a second. Now, what team, because we entered the tactical part, is Leipzig? It's Leipzig, it's a team, we know it already. They scored a few goals after 5 match days in Bundesliga, 8. They conceded 2 goals only from Leverkusen, that yesterday, by the way, beat Milan 1-0. They are third in Bundesliga. They didn't lose at the moment, so it's a really solid team. They lost in Champions League 2-1 against an Atletico Madrid at the last minute, but okay, we know the stats. But what team is Leipzig? Well, it's a team that is playing direct football immediately. They don't waste time, it's not chichi, it's not cha-cha, we play direct football, and we play as much as we can vertical football. The first option is always playing vertical. Vertical, vertical, vertical. Looking for la profondità, for the spaces between the lines immediately with these through balls that are really, really dangerous. It's also a team that loves to recuperate the ball, especially in transition. As soon as they lose the ball in transition, they go and they are really fast in recuperating the ball and then playing immediately vertical. So what are the movements of that team that is starting with a 4-4-2, but that can change? It's a kind of hybrid team. They can go with that 4-4-2 towards a 4-2-3-1, towards a 4-3-3, towards a 4-2-4. Look at the movement. Starting with a 4-4-2, where you see these players that are there lined up like that, but then they have that special movement, that first one, where Simons is going towards the middle of the field, and you see that it becomes immediately a 4-2-3-1. But it's not a static 4-2-3-1. It's a 4-2-3-1 where they are interchanging position constantly during the game, which makes it really difficult to play man-on-man. Look at Simons' movement that go instead of Openda. That's one of the movements. Or you see an Openda, for example, is changing position with Sesko. How are they doing? Sesko goes toward the ball. Do you remember these movements that sometimes we are asking from our strikers? Go play with the back towards the goal, dropping down to take the ball and going on the left, on the right. Well, here they have a difference. The striker, Sesko, is going down with his huge big physique, 195, to take the ball, but immediately the number 10, Openda, is going as the striker, so they are interchanging position. Not only that, because they also can alternate, not with the 4 up front that remain the same, but actually playing with 5 in the back, or 3 in the back, and 2 quite high fullbacks, Raum and Geertruida, that become really high there to put a bit of pressing with only 1 pivot. Really special thing. It becomes a 3-4-3 or a 3-3-4, depending how you can see the differences. Not only because they have another option, and it's actually going towards a 4-2-2-2 or a 4-2-4, depends how you see it. Again, with the fullbacks quite low, helping their defense, 2 midfielders, and then you see the 4 strikers in a 2-2 position, if you want to call it like that. So they have offensively a lot of way of playing. So absolutely not a static team. Super difficult. If you want to play one-on-one, will be tough. Also with the movements of Sesko, if Bremer is on Sesko, well, Bremer needs to pay attention to not leave that position too much. I will show you later with images how they are looking for verticality. But then, how are they playing in non-possession? Well, they go back in that 4-4-2, but extremely compact. All of them are helping themselves. Super compact. You see it here on the image. And then they have another way of playing immediately when they are compact in that 4-4-2, but they need to do a pressing. It's most of the time that winger that is going, like for example here, Nusa, that is going on the player, with Simons that is creating that 3-man midfield to keep actually that structure. It becomes a 4-3-2 with the winger that is going. If it's the other side, of course, it's Nusa that is going that midfield with Simons, the first one to press. And when they recuperate the ball from the back, how are they playing? Well, it's actually goalkeeper that is paying attention with Sesko that doesn't become anymore the number 9, but it's Openda, with Sesko that is dropping down to take that first ball. 4-4-1-1, how they are lining up. So pay attention to these movements of Leipzig with a few images offensively that actually shows you that they are always looking for that verticality. That was the first goal that they scored last weekend. You see immediately Openda with a back heel pass that is looking for Sesko. Sesko taking that ball verticality immediately and scoring and opening the score in that game. Then you see that third goal that they score immediately also. Simons a bit more on the left with one touch, looking for who? Not for Sesko, but immediately for Openda. So again, that verticality immediately between the lines, looking for that. Now, what are their weaknesses? Their weaknesses is that they are really attracted by the ball. It's like, you see the ball, you want to go towards the ball, you're attracted, and they are doing that in different positions. The defenders, you see it here, how they conceded the penalty that at the end the opponent missed, but it was still a penalty. You see it here. They are totally unstructured because they see the striker with the ball and they go with one, if not with two players leaving their position. And you can see that that has a consequence because they are that much attracted by the ball. They are actually leaving a lot of position. In that position, probably on the left side of the field, it will be Yildiz this evening that will have a bit of space. So pay attention to these things. And it happens in different sectors of the field, in the midfield or in the defense, where they're really leaving the spaces. Leaving spaces, being unorganized because they are attracted by the ball, that's where Juventus needs to be strong. I already mentioned Yildiz, but according to me, the key man of today could be Teun, Robocop Koopmeiners. You see he's finishing on the first page of Tuttosport, Euro, Coop, Turbo, Juve. Yesterday, there was a Thiago Motta that was mentioning Koopmeiners, saying it's a player that, yes, he can play on the right, yes, he can play on the left, he can play centrally, which we saw in all the heat maps that we analyzed so far. But he said something super important. He's super free. He's super free to go and to take the initiative. He's really a leader. It's not, I think, a coincidence that we see Koopmeiners with that finger there. That is, you remember also when he was asking Conceição to go up, leading to the third goal because he was on the right position. But if you were able to hear the game Genoa-Juve without supporters, you really heard a lot of time the voice of Koopmeiners. He's a real leader also on the field, speaking. He says it also, I love to communicate because I think that without communication, everything starts to be extremely difficult. So he loves to communicate, he loves to take leadership, he's looking for his goal, yes, but he says if Dusan already scored a brace, and I have the possibility to score, but he's better placed than me, I give him the ball. So it's a player that is absolutely not selfish. But of course, he's looking for his goal, maybe this evening already against Leipzig, because he will have the opportunity to move left and right. And because they are attracted by that ball, they could possibly give him the freedom to find his spot. Not only Koopmeiners, but there are a few duels. Koopmeiners against Xavi Simons. Do you remember in the summer when I told you Koopmeiners AAA objective, but Juventus is already preparing for a plan B, opening discussion possibly for Paris Saint-Germain with Paris Saint-Germain for Xavi Simons. Well, he could have been a Juve player. At the end, we have Koopmeiners, extremely happy because he was #1 target, but that will be the Dutch duel. Other duels on the field, Dusan against Orban. Orban, that is a really physical defender. It will be a physical duel. Pay attention, Dusan, because we know it. He already suffered these kinds of defenders that are thinking only about one man. So he will need to unmark himself. He will need to stay mentally into this game. Even if for 85 minutes he doesn't touch any single ball, we don't care. He needs to be ready at the 86th. He needs to be ready at the 87th. He needs to be ready at the 91st minute, whatever, because that ball can really make the difference. So it will be a big difference, a big duel in terms of physicality with Orban that will not leave him alone. Another duel that can be extremely important is Raum against Nico Gonzalez. And that's where I give you the answer. I think that Nico Gonzalez will start today because Conceição is a much more offensive player than Nico Gonzalez that can also pay attention to the defensive side. When analyzing Leipzig, what I always watched and saw was Raum that goes super high on the field on that left side of the field. For example, that second goal that comes also from him, going up and then crossing with a fantastic super striker Sesko movement, cutting inside, attracting the defender with him, and then without noticing, boom, changing side, being totally free on that second post. Well, Raum is a player that goes up, and that's why Nico Gonzalez, I think, that will try also not only to play offensively, but try also to limit Raum that goes too much up. A big duel. Dusan Vlahovic against Sesko. Of course, it's a big duel because Sesko, there are already the rumors in the future, Juve. But there are more players like that, and Leipzig has a lot of players that Juntal is interested in. Then Leipzig, we know it, cost a lot of money. But that will be a beautiful duel. The one that could be and the one that we have now. Sesko against Dusan Vlahovic. We didn't mention too much Yildiz, that in Serie A, because of that position, is sometimes having a bit of difficulties in the beginning of the season, but he did fantastically well in Champions League. We are expecting the same. Gazzetta dello Sport is going with Gran Premio di Lipsia, Leipzig Grand Prix, comparing Red Bull with Ferrari, Red Bull of Sesko, that is actually the star there, a bit the Verstappen, and Yildiz, that is a bit the Charles Leclerc, comparing their stories, etc., etc. It is what it is. A few fast recap about the games of yesterday in Champions League. Bulldozer Inter that won 4-0 yesterday. They had a bit of difficulties, I have to admit, in the first half, in maybe probably the first hour, probably because they did so many rotation, underestimating a bit the strength of their opponent, thinking a lot about Serie A, disrespecting maybe, but at the end, look, it worked for them, because not only that fantastic, beautiful free kick from Canaloglu, but then in the second half, you saw Taremi, what a player. Yesterday, 2 assists. Then they gave him that penalty for his first goal with the Nerazzurri. Look, they did the job, rotating. Maybe they were not fantastic in the beginning of the game, but then they really showed the superiority that they had, and they go with goal difference. They go with 3 points, which were important. They have 4 on 6 at the moment, so beautiful start for Inter. What about Milan? 0 on 6 now. Is it a disaster? Is it? No, it is not, because of course they played against, if I'm not wrong, Liverpool, the first game. Now they played against Leverkusen, 2 really strong teams. Now I have to say that they are angry because they didn't receive that penalty that probably could have been checked on VAR. Not 100% sure that it was a penalty, because I need to understand who was the first one that did that step on foot. But I have to say that Milan, they have still chances to do better in the next following games. But it's not a beautiful start. And instead of being angry, probably they need to be angry with themselves, because if you're looking at the first hour of the game, they were totally demolished by extremely strong Leverkusen that this year in Champions League is starting. Wow, what a way of starting, or at least to play of Leverkusen, that yesterday was really impressive. What about the other games? Well, Paris Saint-Germain against Arsenal. Arsenal won 2-0, and that's where I go with mamma mia, luckily that we didn't sign Donnarumma. Yesterday, that's immediately what I was thinking, because I watch a lot of Ligue 1 games. I watch a lot of Paris Saint-Germain games in Ligue 1, but also in Champions League. It's not something that I want really to be reactionary, because Donnarumma with La Nacional is really great. But if you're looking at day by day, he continues to do the same mistake that when he was at Milan. Fantastic, flop. Fantastic, flop. Fantastic. Really difficult, but it cost you sometimes really a lot of points, like he already did in Champions League with Paris Saint-Germain. It's not the first time. Yesterday, the 2 goals are a lot. Also, his responsibility, strange. Then that 7-1 of Dortmund, after that 9-2 last week from Bayern Munich. It shows also that that new format of competition, I already start having my thoughts on it, but it's really strange. 5-0 Barcelona, 4-0 Manchester City, 4-0 Inter. I wait maybe after match day 2, maybe after match day 3 to really give you my initial thoughts about the competition, but a bit strange. We need to see what is the mega value of that competition in that first round with 1 ranking only. Anyway, go back to Juve again. We see each other this evening. Pre-game, watch along, and then the post-game of Leipzig Juventus. Ciao ragazzi, forza Juve.